the budget hearing for the road district to order at 8:30. The same people are present and attendant. And again, we're going to ask for public comment before we move on to any. Step up, please.
Can you see her?
Sure.
My name is
If it's
Mary.
okay with the video, you're getting the video.
Yeah, you may want to use the mic.
Yeah.
We're not
We're not trying to punish you.
Oh, no.
And then if you can state your name and the town.
Hello, my name is Mary Matheson. Just a little background, I'm a 30-year resident of Park Ridge. 4 children, went through District 64 and 207. Always happy with the curriculum, extracurricular, all the services that were offered, the Park District Library. Didn't have to personally have experience with the township directly until last year, a year ago. I had a son that was having problems. He was legally old enough to drink, but I felt like there was a big problem. It was becoming, without getting into a long story, it was just wrecking our relationship, all the negativity that comes with not trust and not succeeding. I was just at wit's end, and a mutual friend had me call Marty Cook. So going backwards, I've really been meaning to write a thank you to Marty and to Nick Keneal that helped, and also to the township for having the resources available. Recovery outreach could not have been more helpful. It is a wonderful service. I don't know how many residents need it, but I would say our whole community benefits from it. I called Marty. He gave me hope. He had his information. We had a very nice conversation. He told me to have his son call him, which he did. They met up. He gave his advice, and it's something that it has to be the right time. The person has to accept it. Moving forward, they had another meeting. He brought one of my son's peers, someone that has been through basically rehabilitation and learning to live their life healthy. Like I said, I did not know this was available. Long story short, they did meet a few times, still apprehensive. A year ago on Memorial Day, being intoxicated, again, legal age to drink, but this is abuse of alcohol. Had a bad accident or got hurt very bad. Called Marty, he was to the rescue, got him help. Gateway was a wonderful organization, but he just educated us so well, and with such, I just have so much gratitude for Marty personally, but to have this outreach program, this recovery program. There are so many young adults that need this, and I just want to thank you for having it, for funding it. There's a lot of success stories, but one big thing that Marty did tell me, he was kind of coaching me through this, was you can go through any treatment, it's the aftercare, and that's where the resources, the Oasis that you offer, the volleyball, the activities that these, I'm calling them kids, but they're young adults, they support each other. And a lot of the services, I'm always thankful for the policemen, the firemen, our public servants, but this is something that hits home, can wreck families, but the whole community benefits when we have well people, kids that want to give back, just being good citizens. So I just want to thank you for having that available, for funding it, and it's a game changer, change lives, help us out, and just want to thank you.
Thank you for your comments.
Yes, thank you for
Thank
Thank you, Marty.
And thank you. And thank you. Anybody else? Okay. The road district budget has been presented.
I just want to make a few comments. I thought the May 14th budget workshop was a success, I'd say, in the sense that there was experts who made the determination that more has to be spent on resurfacing the roads to maintain a healthy schedule of repairing each road every 12 to 15 years and totally redoing it every 60 years. But given the budget constraints, obviously you can't spend as much money as they suggested. But the capital improvement fund, or as I call it the road improvement fund, spread out over 3 years, a total of $400,000, approximately $130,000 each year. Extra beyond what is allocated for road resurfacing, generally around $400,000 a year. That at least puts us in the ballpark for maintaining our roads at a proper clip. And in addition to that, having that road improvement fund, same as the capital fund, the town fund has, also reduces the reserves and puts us in a better light in terms of non-excess surplus amounts. And plus you're doing something practical for the community that has some benefit. Aside from that, because of the unfortunate death of our director, we do have a lesser salary amount. We didn't replace him with a different person. Just elevated the crew chief to foreman, and he does some of the same director type work items that the former director did, except he doesn't want to be called a director, and he just wants to be called foreman. He's a modest guy who is working for a lesser amount and has the majority of the responsibilities that the previous director had. There's going to be reduced health care because of one less employee. And some of the money that was saved has to go back into line items, because it's embarrassing for me. Last year, I had X number of dollars and about a week to put it together. You know, it had to be actuals, and I was inserting dollar amounts in line items, and it becomes very, very difficult to balance those line items, because it's hard to do a balance transfer when there's too many of the line items that are out of whack. So some of that money is bolstering the line items. So you're not, if there is a need, something goes over budget, you have another line item that can cover it. You can transfer funds more readily. And, you know, I think it's going to work out. You know, I think that, I'm not saying anything about morale, but I actually think our highway department morale is better than it was almost 3 years ago when I started. I think people work a little harder, they have a better attitude. I'm not going to take credit for that, but it just seems like if we have the resources allocated to the right spots, and we can actually do a good job in the field, do a good job in setting up necessary permits and waivers that the residents need for various projects, and maintain our resources in terms of snow removal and road improvement and sewer work, and just generally have a comfortable working environment that has adequate funding to cover any contingency. And it's very important in my mind to have that road improvement fund, and we're going to have a situation again where we have a big ticket item with the sweeper but we're also selling other items. And, that's one reason last year, although a lot of things were over, the line items were screwed up, we still spent less than allocated simply because we obtained revenue from people who use our engineering service, and we recouped the funds from there, and plus we sold in excess of $50,000 in surplus equipment, and we're gonna do more than that this year. So I think we're doing a decent job, and, we just have to not look all the time for somebody wasting money. I'm not saying that there's never any money wasted, but I think we're, at least in this department, we're doing an adequate job in being fiscally responsible. And you just want to have a working environment and a plan that, we're not making headlines, we just want adequate service at a decent price. And I think this budget does that. And it allows for, with that capital improvement fund or the road improvement fund, to do a little extra and have the benefit of tapping into reserves. So it doesn't appear that we're taxing the individual homeowner excessively.
I'm gonna make a motion to approve the road district budget ordinance 2019-RB-1.
Second.
Having a motion and a second, is there any discussion?
Yes.
Trustee McKenzie.
I don't know if I thanked you, Wally, last time for working so hard on this year's budget. It showed. I appreciate that. And I also appreciated the engineering study bringing our attention to the maintenance that the roads need and providing us the annual resurfacing project expenses. And I would agree that you should have a capital fund to fund those expenses. The only thing I would say is that I don't agree that the amount should be $400,000. If you look at this year's budget on town fund and GA, and you note that the capital fund of $250,000 that we approved is on the budget again this year, what you're saying is that every year you're spending $400,000. But just let me finish. So what I would propose as an amendment is that your capital fund be a lower amount to reflect that what you really are short every year is, like you said, $130,000. I would say give you cushion to have your capital fund be $150,000. We can always look at it again next year for any additional capital fund needs that you might have, but according to your own schedule or the engineering study, what you need each year is not $400,000.
Well, I wouldn't necessarily be against that, but this is spread out over 3 years. I'm gonna ask the attorney, is it mandated that the capital fund or the road improvement fund always be replenished, or is it just gonna be incrementally reduced to nothing?
It's going to be up to the board as each budget. So it's how much you're going to spend, how much you might spend out of that capital improvements that year.
My intent would be not to replenish, but to have the $400,000 and then eat into it for 3 years until it's gone.
I understand, but that's not how the accounting works. Chris can attest to that, but I mean, you can look at our town fund GA budget. It has the $250,000 line item in it for the capital outlay.
Well, that's something that I don't see any immediate drawback. The only thing is I have to approach the board again next year. If that's what I have to do, I have to do. But you know,
Wally, I just want to clarify so you understand, you don't have to approach the board again. What I'm saying is that just like the capital fund for the town fund and GA that we approved and appropriated
Mhm.
250,000, which is on this year's budget, as you see,
yeah.
the same thing would hold for your capital.
Well, now I understand.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, I could live with that compromise.
I'd like to know what you would say first.
Well, I was actually just gonna agree with Claire, that's kind of what she's saying. I guess I'm under the impression too now, so we're having $250,000 a year in the town fund, is that what?
No, actually,
Right, so that's, we actually approved 250,000.
This is
That's
ongoing, right.
That is 250 till it gets to zero.
sure.
I guess what we're saying now is, that's kind of what.
Well, that's how the budget was written, so that's what I'm assuming.
Right. But that's not, in theory, like trustee Sweeney said, that it was really the 250 less the 17,000 is what we really have left per se. But we just put the 250 back in just to show it because we didn't fully expend that amount the prior year, just to give us that $20,000 cushion. So I guess what Highway Commissioner is asking for is kind of what the same thing we did on the town fund, is to have an amount that over the 3 years gets expended, that's nothing.
Yeah, well, is that the only way to go, or is?
You could, I mean, you could do it either way. I mean, the board can approve every year, you know, a capital improvement amount as well. So it's just like in the town fund, we didn't expend that whole amount. So I see where you're coming from as well. Like, if we don't spend that
Yeah,
amount,
well, my intent is to spend as close to 133,000.
or it was, I think the intent of the town fund was to do the same thing, but it didn't. So, I mean, obviously, that's up to you and then.
Well, they're a little different. I mean, they have research, I mean,
Yeah, well, it's,
we
Labor
got
and-
waylaid by consolidation and weather and things like that, which obviously. Can you do 150 or is 150?
That's what I said.
Oh, I thought you
Just
said
to give
130.
cushion.
Yeah,
No,
no.
Wally had said he's short 130, but I said to provide cushion, make it a nice round number, 150.
You're good with that?
yeah,
But you have to do that every year for the next 3 years.
right, I do have to
Yeah,
approach
so
the
this is
board.
just for this year?
Correct.
Okay, all right. Okay, so, I'll amend the motion.
Okay.
Right, to amend to approve road district budget ordinance 2019-1 with an amendment of the permanent road capital fund from 400,000 to 150,000 for this fiscal coming year.
Second.
Okay, motion second, any further discussion? Hearing none, Clerk Tillams, can you call?
Supervisor Brad?
Yes.
Trustee Jones?
Yes.
Trustee McKenzie?
Yes.
Trustee Carabota?
Yes.
Trustee Sweeney?
Yes,
Thank
and I
you.
would like to commend Highway Commissioner Kazimierczyk as well for the job he did on this budget.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so now, we're going to motion to adjourn the public hearing for, or the budget hearing for the road district.
Motion adjourned.
All right, second?
Second.
Oh, that's okay. Clerk Tillams, can you call roll?
Supervisor Brad?
Yes.
Trustee Jones?
Yes.
Trustee McKenzie?
Yes.
Trustee Carabota?
Yes.
Trustee Sweeney?
Yes.